What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Feelings First, Facts Later podcast with Nathan Mitchell and Cristina.
Hey.
And for those of you who are not on YouTube watching us, just know that we are back in front of the cameras. So the audio usually gets released on Thursday, YouTube somewhere on the weekend. But if you're subscribed, then you'll see it when it gets posted. But if you missed our beautiful faces, we are on camera today looking lovely. Look at you over there. Look like you. Can you notice her tan? That's I want to know. If
Do
you,
I look tan?
If you notice her tan,
Okay.
I want you to put a little T in the comment
T
section.
for tan.
T for tan. But if you notice that, or if you notice that my tan is,
That's not fair.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm about 20 pounds lighter, 20 pounds lighter than I was the last time we were on camera.
For real?
I believe so. I was pushing, I wasn't fat, so maybe that's just, it's kind of hard to tell.
That just sounds like so much weight.
It was a good amount of weight. Yeah, I was close to 210.
Yeah.
Back before we got off camera and we dedicated to the audio.
I can't even recall when that was.
I mean, it's been about what? 8 months? 7, 8 months?
Since we haven't been on camera?
I want to say we haven't been on camera since the baby's been born.
What? What are you talking about?
Huh?
I'm so confused right now.
What was the last time we've been on camera?
Before the summer?
Really?
Yeah. Now.
Yeah. I'm bugging. You're right.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, it was
Where
before
have
the
I
summer.
been?
It was before the summer. But I'm still.
No, I know.
Still lost
yeah.
that much weight. Yeah, I was close to. I was definitely over 200, and now I'm back in the 190s range. So yeah, you know what I'm saying. And I got my Jungle Fever shirt on, and you know why.
That ain't got shit to do with me, like you say.
Oh really? Do we need to tell these people what your 23andMe says about you? What does it say?
You don't even know what it says.
Oh,
you
I
haven't
know.
Seen it.
I saw it. It said you are majority colonizer. That's what it said, did it not?
God, no.
Okay. All right. And it's pink.
Colonizer.
And why is my shirt pink?
I don't know.
To match your toes. But enough about that. I wonder how crazy I'm going to look with this holding this microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you who are just listening, then this, I guess I'm just painting a picture for you. And those of you who are watching, is just, I guess, redundant to you. But this is a completely different, well, it's the same room, but just a different setup because we still have a whole, maybe we should take a picture of this, but we have a whole bed mess all in that way that we cannot take down just yet because we have another guest coming who's going to be utilizing
or guests. We don't
know yet. It's so great. Okay, so it's my mother and my father. They're both oral. We don't know yet, but one of my parents at least is coming down to help out.
We thought it was both, but now we don't know.
Now we don't know. Originally, it was supposed to be both of them, but the ticket only had my mother's name on it, so I don't know if she just sent me the itinerary with just her name on it,
maybe,
or if she intentionally did not buy him a ticket to keep him in Ohio so she could get a vacation from him.
Right.
But this is where we're a bit confused because it could easily be solved if I ask, but I don't care to ask. It's, it's just their business, not mine. Mine kind of, but it'll be mine next week. Anyway, when I was on the phone with my father and my mother, my father appeared to be excited about coming down next week with my mother, but his name isn't on the ticket.
Maybe he thinks he's coming.
And by ticket, I mean not the total itinerary, because she sent me a screenshot of the final order, and his name wasn't on it. So yes, of course, his name wouldn't be on her ticket, but it wasn't on the itinerary.
Yeah,
so
we get it.
I don't know what's happening, but we'll find out. But long story less long, this studio is going to be used as a spare bedroom for a whole nother week. So we just pushed the bed aside, fit whatever we could fit in, and tried to keep all the clutter out of the shot as much as possible. But
yeah, but it looks pretty crazy.
It looks crazy. Crazy. But as promised, our main topic for today is going to be, are you cool with your significant other having friends of the opposite sex? Spoiler alert. Short answer, no. What say you?
You're not cool with it?
What say you?
It depends.
We'll go deeper in it.
No, it depends. We will.
It depends.
Yeah, it depends.
Now, what if my friend was a big booty Latina with pretty feet? Go.
I don't have pretty feet.
I didn't say you didn't have pretty feet. But what if she had pretty feet?
It depends, which I guess we're going to get into.
Holding out for the people. Okay.
Or are we going to get into it now?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
So it still depends for me.
Okay, fair enough. But before we get into that, we are going to do, I guess, callback from a previous episode. and this is a segment that we call, What Does Chris Think of This? What does Chris think of this? And in this game, I spit out a couple of topics to Cristina, and I want her to give me her knee-jerk reaction. Now, we're going to run through all of these topics or short questions or whatever you want to call it. And then at the very end, we're going to go back and we're going to have a bit of a discussion about these topics and see how she feels about it after talking about it a little bit more.
Are we ever going to do it for you?
We can do it for me.
Okay.
But
that, I would have to pick, obviously.
So you would have to do the research right. And find topics and then just spitball them at me. Okay. Yeah. So it's okay. It's off-air work you'll have to do.
That's fine.
Are you ready for that commitment?
I can do it.
You think so?
That's fine.
Okay, that'd be fun.
I do stuff. I
didn't say you don't do stuff. I'm saying, are you ready for that commitment?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll do it.
You ready to play?
Mm-hmm.
What does Chris think of this? Boom. First one. 26-year-old enrolled in Nebraska high school pretending to be a 16-year-old student. Go.
Sick.
All right. Next one. Drunk drivers in Texas that are convicted, if they kill a child or kill a parent, they will be ordered to pay child support. What say you?
I like it.
All right. Study reveals that young male virginity is on an all-time rise.
Obvious.
Now, to piggyback off of that, sexual harassment on the internet is at an all-time high.
Yeah, it goes together.
All right. Now, this one is to kind of piggyback off of what we talked about in our previous episode. I've gathered a little bit more information, which I'm guessing is facts, but I'm going to say allegedly.
Okay.
Obama's chef, the gentleman that we talked about in the previous episode.
Talked all the shit about.
Right. Information has come out about him that he was able to swim. And there was pictures and video evidence showing that this guy actually could swim. Okay. Right. And he drowned in 8 feet deep water. What say you?
I'm so confused.
That's your answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because what does it matter if he could swim, how deep it was?
Okay. That's fair. We'll get into it.
I'm just as confused as I was before.
All right. So let's start from the top down.
Okay.
Bottom up.
No, start from where we left off up.
Yeah.
Back.
The chef.
Yes.
Okay. So what would that be? Top down or bottom up?
Bottom up.
Bottom up. Let's start from the bottom to the top. Okay.
There we go.
So here we are. We're still talking about this chef. Okay. We talked about it last time. Catch people up to speed for those of you who are not familiar about the article. Mm-hmm. Obama's chef reportedly passed away by way of drowning in Martha's Vineyard while paddleboarding. He was 100 feet out from
and then
land.
I was going to say, you judged me for saying that he drowned, and I added an ED, and I'm correct.
Drowned?
No, not drowned. He drowned. He didn't drown. He drowned.
No, I think it was the way you said it.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. I think it was the way it was said.
We have to play
but
that
also,
back.
But also, we're doing this thing where we're on the microphone and we have our voices in our ears as we're speaking. So a lot of times, some of the things that we say can
was
be.
like,
But even in that moment, I think you agreed.
but maybe it
And I
caught
think
me
you
off
said
guard. Well,
drowned.
no, I did not. I would never, Nathan. Because when I was listening to it afterwards, I'm like, I said it right. Anyway.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
You're right. Let's do it. But, we were under the impression that he couldn't swim.
You were. I was still confused.
Well, okay.
Because I wondered, like, did he hit his head? You know,
okay.
Did he get caught in something?
He was paddleboarding. I left that detail out for the recap.
Right.
But could I be off by assuming that he couldn't swim, considering he died, and then on top of that, he's black. So, I mean, there's that.
I guess. I just think, why the fuck are you paddleboarding as a grown adult and you can't swim? But okay. I don't know.
Turns out he could swim.
Okay.
And turns out that, it wasn't too deep. So I want to know, do you think this was a job? Do you think this was
he like knew
accident?
Stuff about like the Obamas?
That's
ooh. What do the conspiracy theorists have to say? I bet there's some sort of conversation happening about this.
I think the number one conspiracy theory I saw was that Obama got rid of him.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, but I wonder why. What's the actual theory?
Cooking for the wife. You know what I'm saying?
No, like, did he know some secrets?
Oh, okay.
That they don't want to get out.
Did you say no because of how Michelle looks? Is that why you just immediately said no?
No,
okay.
No, I didn't.
I mean, you said no, like real, like
no. That sounds too obvious.
Sometimes it's the obvious one.
Okay.
But you think he might have known too much?
Yeah, because it's like, I still don't understand. How did he drown?
That's how you said it.
Drowned.
How did he drown? That's how you said it last time. How did he drown? See, it comes out. Now, did you think that was right? Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Hold on. But now I'm overthinking it.
I know, but this is how it came about last time.
Yeah.
You said it that way. Maybe not that exact sentence, but it was done that way. How did he drown? But wouldn't it be how did he drown?
Drowned would be past tense.
Okay. I don't listen.
Now you're confusing me.
Listen. Don't. I'm a nigga from Cleveland. I could barely read, so there's that.
Because you could say, I don't want you to drown.
I don't want you to drown.
But if he drowned,
I heard that he
drowned,
but you didn't just say it that way.
I said it how it's spelled.
No.
What, is the D too hard for you at the end?
I'll be honest with you. I don't even know how your sentence went. Like, we're past it now. But in that moment, wait. But in that moment, it sounded wrong, right? It felt right, but it sounded wrong. I'm just asking. Or
not until you keep pointing it out.
Okay, maybe it's me.
I'm confident until you say something.
Listen.
Okay.
Listen, I'm an idiot.
All right.
I'm from Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? I don't know
Cleveland with a D at the end, or Cleveland.
Cleveland, not Cleveland. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So
okay, but that's still how deep the water was still doesn't answer the question
about how did it happen.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know. Well, they said no foul play was found. Well,
or was it just him?
I mean, if they were, they weren't too helpful.
Yeah.
But they said no foul play, but there's still, as of...
Was he drunk? Like, this is not good reporting.
Well, I guess more will unfold, or it won't. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll just get swept under the rug, and we won't hear anything about it.
I want to dig into conspiracy theories. Maybe I'll be more satisfied with those answers.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the next one up is the sexual harassment on the internet is at an all-time high.
Compared to what?
Well, yeah. Listen, the internet is, for those of you who don't understand the internet is a place where people go and they feel safe to do and say whatever they want to do because they are hiding behind a keyboard.
Right.
And I guess more recently, and what this topic or what this article was referring to was, I don't want to say the name of it, but not necessarily Meta, but places like Meta, where you have virtual reality, not augmented reality, where you have virtual reality, where you create avatar and you're in this world where you're interacting with other people and they're all running around looking and have names or do whatever they want to do. And so women are finding themselves on these platforms. People find out that they're women and then they're being sexually harassed.
I want to know what that looks like.
Probably just being annoyed. Show me your tits, just shit like that. I mean, in terms of what it would look like in real life, obviously it's not going to look the same. Yes, there might be catcalling, but there's no, I don't want to take away how someone feels, but as far as what we can identify as what an actual threat is, besides...
I guess that's can you call it sexual harassment?
Like if someone's saying, show me your titties. Oh, hey girl, you look,
But you're in a fake world.
Yeah. Well, but
now I'm not saying it's appropriate.
But for some people, that's their world.
Well, that's a problem in and of itself. Yeah, I'm not saying it's okay. This is not by any I'm not trying to say downplay it. I'm just like, what does that look like? And get the fuck off the internet and go outside.
I think
that's how I feel about it.
The only defense the only argument that I can make that would make this more serious than what it appears to be is if you have people that are tracking your IP address to your address, your telephone number, or whatever it may be.
That to me would be sexual harassment.
Right. And then they're potentially talking about, hey, I'm going to. But I think that should be a whole different thing. That's more like.
Well, then that's real life at that point.
Right. Now you're not just fucking with,
what are the consequences for this?
I would imagine there's probably like suspension and banning and things like that, or if you report somebody so many times and they might not be able to be on for 15 minutes or an hour, whatever it be.
Right.
Probably the same shit that you hear about when the kids were talking about what they were doing to some kids on Roblox, and then what they got banned for 2 or 3 days, and then the ban's lifted and you're able to get back on. Slap on the wrist. Don't do this again. This violates our code of conduct or whatever the hell they call it, and then they keep it moving. But yes, I understand what you're saying. For a woman like yourself who's been, I'm guessing, just because you have tits, who's been sexually harassed
in real life,
right? Then you look at this and you go, what is this? This is child's play. What are you talking about?
Again, not that it's okay.
No.
You should be able to do anything and mind your fucking business.
Exactly. Yeah. But what does that look like? But then it ties into where we seem to be moving into this world where for a good amount of people, healthy or unhealthy, this looks like life. This looks like their reality, their real world, even though it's
or their preferred world.
Right. Yeah. So if you sing into this thing, you want this thing to be a safe space.
I get it.
Right.
I agree. It should be.
And then someone hears your voice and then they go crazy. And look, watch this. As a black dude, I used to not get on chats in video games because the minute someone hears that I'm black, niggers fly like crazy. These kids are crazy.
Yeah, they are crazy.
And it'll be little kids
calling you,
you're a nigger. Yeah. I'm telling you right now, it is crazy. And anyone out there that's black will be like, I know what you're talking about. The minute you say something and people find out you're black, N-words fly. If you piss them off, if you suck and they're pissed off, whatever it may be, you beat them. Nigger will fly out of these kids' mouths. It is crazy. But these kids or adults, they wouldn't say this shit to my face.
Obviously.
But they're behind this avatar. They're behind this keyboard killer or whatever you want to call them. And you become real gutsy.
Yeah.
So clearly
there's no real consequences.
So clearly, and this leads into the next one, these same kids or young adults or whatever you want to call it, or even grown adults that are sexually harassing these women more than likely don't have the balls to approach women in person. And so then now you see this rise in virginity in young males, which
all of this misdirected sexual energy,
which necessarily isn't a bad thing.
What, the virginity?
Yeah. For young males, it's not a bad thing. What are we talking? We're talking teenagers. Okay, if you hold out until marriage, I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing.
No.
And I don't think we should shame them as a bad thing.
Right.
But I think the significance behind an article like this is to highlight that it appears that sexuality amongst males has changed dramatically in comparison to what the sexuality or the what word am I looking for? Promiscuity? Is that a word?
Sure.
Would that even be the right word?
I know what
sexual
you're
curiosity
Maybe,
or sexual appetite or whatever it may be. But I almost don't want to say sexual appetite because they might have the same appetite, but they just don't have the drive to go for it because of whatever contributing factors.
Maybe sexual drive.
Sexual drive. Maybe. Okay, fine. We'll stick with that. Sexual drive. So it's clear that their sexual drive has changed because if they still desire women at the same rate that males before desired women, then they're not in pursuit.
Right.
So it might be easier for them, just like it would be to call me foul names on the internet. it would be easy for them to bother women online. And then you mix in this whole incel ideology and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, it's concerning.
Yeah, it's concerning because, I mean, I don't know nothing about it. I remember it didn't take me long before everything that revolved around or my world revolved around getting women, girls, women, whatever it was at the time of my life.
Yeah.
Like that was everything to me. Like everything that I did was for the idea of getting attention from females. So I can imagine now, and it just doesn't add up to me, seeing these younger males that just just don't have it. Like even I remember being a virgin was like shame, like it was shameful. Like you got made fun of if you were, you're still a virgin. What? Now a lot of times the guys ever saying that were probably virgins themselves,
right?
But they didn't want to admit
that kind of talk.
But just that kind of right. So it was like that encouragement to get out there and try to lose your virginity, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And again, this is not my way of encouraging it because if I was speaking to one of my children, I would tell them to wait until you find someone that means something to you. Right. Whether it be marriage, that might be a bit extreme, because that, I guess as a parent, you will want your children to do all that because
but why though?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like for what? Because is that really smart?
I don't think so.
Well, I guess it depends who you ask, right? No, but I agree. Just understanding that, like, when you make that decision, it's going to have an impact
100%
one way or another. So
right.
Just be smart about who you decide to have that experience with.
Right. Who you do. Yeah. Who you decide to have the experience with, because like you said, there's a lot of things at stake, right?
Yes.
You might
for
get
better
her,
or for worse. Right.
You might get her pregnant. You might break her heart, or it's a lot of stuff. So I wouldn't want them to approach it like a player.
Exactly.
Is what I would want.
Yeah.
To do. If it was my daughter, I would say wait till marriage. No. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
About both genders, as far as just making sure that if you do it responsibly and make sure it's someone that means something to you, not someone that's just gonna treat you like dirt. But waiting to marriage might be a bit extreme, especially considering we get on this podcast and we preach about sex, and the importance of connecting and having a sexual connection, and
which could be
and how that
the person you're married. It should be the person you're married to.
It should be.
Right?
It should be. But sometimes, I wonder how many people out there hold off until marriage and then well, I guess you wouldn't know. You wouldn't have any basis of comparison at that point, right? So I guess wait till marriage. Because my only argument to not waiting to marriage would be if you wait until marriage and then you have sex with this person and then you find out that you and this person do not have good sexual experiences with one another, and now you gotta,
But if you are with the right person and you married the right person, then sex would then be this journey of getting it right.
Getting.
So if all works out well,
okay,
the way it's supposed to, then that would make all the sense.
So delete everything that I just said, and we're telling our children.
But does that really happen?
No.
Then there's, you know what I'm saying.
But it's still a good idea.
It sounds nice.
It's still a good idea to say it.
Yeah.
You don't want to say like.
But I think if you say wait until marriage, bullet points like we just did versus just you hear that and that's it, period. Wait until marriage, period.
Yeah.
But why? And for what?
Okay. Fair enough. Well, so it might be a good thing. It might be a good thing that these males are staying virgins. I would say
it would be a good thing if there was also like actual human interaction happening.
Right.
But I don't feel like it's necessarily a good thing when they're not even connecting with people in the real world. And that's concerning.
And that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
They're absorbed with games, being in virtual reality.
Complete detachment from the real life to include sex is concerning. Like, I think
interpersonal communication is probably
sex is just a piece of it.
At an all-time low with it.
Yeah.
And then, obviously will come
because
sex.
The older you get, the harder it would become to learn how to speak to women, I would assume. If you just haven't done it at all, ever. You haven't been working at it since you were a teenager to then your early 20s. It's just like, how do you figure that out later as a 30-year-old fucking grown-ass man playing video games?
Yeah, it'll almost like have like the snowball effect to it, right? Because if you're socially awkward around women because you're scared, and then...
I don't think that gets any easier without practice and with time.
Yeah.
And then chances are you're surrounded by men who are on your same page. So it's not like you're even able to, get advice. Because you're playing with the same...
Or you're getting advice from the wrong places. Like you're going down these red pill hills, and then you're watching these red pill guys that say treat women like this, which sometimes isn't the best way to treat women, right?
Right.
And then now you're approaching them this way. And not only are you doing yourself a disservice, but you're making the male experience worse for these women that you're communicating with. And then now it's this
all fucked up,
this crazy toxic type of exchange between males.
Right. Women become even more turned off.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when really you just wanted to, just talk to them about video games or whatever the fuck it may be, because that's who you are, not knowing that they're doing the same shit you're doing too.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Excuse me. Yeah, they're into the same shit you're into. I mean, we see it. It's not like it used to be where the nerdiness was exclusive to males. Like back when we were growing up, you didn't see too many female nerds. I mean, it just wasn't a thing. It was mainly...
Or it looked different.
Yeah.
Girl nerds weren't doing the same thing as boy nerds.
Correct.
So,
correct. But now it's common to see women game. It's common to see women that are into anime and different things that would be considered quote unquote nerdy to us, but probably more normal to this younger generation that they're speaking about. And but again, no guidance, no practice, and so then you search the internet because you're already on the internet, and then you get the wrong advice, and then now you're doing this thing, and then you become an incel, where now you're just deciding that you're going to be celibate, thinking that it's because you're deciding that you're going to be celibate, when really you're just saying it because you can't get it
options
either way. but it's easier for you to say, oh, it's
I'm
in my
choosing
control.
this.
I'm
Yeah.
choosing this, as opposed to going, I'm actually failing. How can I make myself better? Right. So pray for sex. You know what I'm saying?
For these kids.
Make sex great again.
Yikes.
That's what we need to do. Not for the kids, for adults.
No, I'm saying pray for the kids.
Oh, yeah.
In general, because this is scary. The future looks concerning.
Well, what can we do? All right, next one. And this one's, we're just going to get in and out of this one. 26-year-old enrolled in a high school in Nebraska as a 16-year-old child.
Well, can I say that you had already mentioned this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you mentioned it to me, I didn't know you were bringing it up now.
Yeah. Well, it was supposed to be brought up last week, but it just.
So my initial thought was, what the fuck? Why are these schools just dropping the ball? And I only said that, or mainly said that, because of my personal experience with having schools not have their shit together when it comes to paperwork and people doing what they need to do to make sure that, you know, kids are taken care of and that everything is
You've seen it
safe.
Right. You've seen it.
Right. So my thought was like, somebody dropped the fucking ball, didn't check the documents correctly, because when you register, you need to provide birth certificates and past transcripts. So there shouldn't be a way for something like this to happen unless it's falsified documents, which apparently that was the case. It was. So, or at least that's what Nebraska looked like a kid.
He 100% did.
Yeah,
100% did.
He looked like a kid.
So anyone that's out there that's curious, like, oh, how did this happen, or you just want to see it, like, if you look at this person, you'd be like, okay, teenager. Right. He could really go either way. Probably more teenager than 26-year-old.
I guess that my other question would be, how old was he trying to pass for?
I believe it was 16.
See, I guess my question here would be, that would make me question the school, is you can't register yourself at that age. So it would have to have been up unless he had some other adults conspire with him to go in there and say, this is my kid. That's fucking weird.
Or do you have to go in with the parent at the time with the child? So the parent has to be with the child.
Or not necessarily the child with the parent, but the parent has to go register the minor.
So maybe he went in looking more like an adult. Because who's gonna?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Is true.
Because it'll be easy. If you dress up like an adult, you wear some adult things, maybe let his facial hair grow out a little bit. Yeah, boom.
True.
Now he comes in. He says he's his own father.
True.
He enrolls. Yada yada yada. And then, right when it's time for him to go into school and show his face, now he shaves his face.
And it's not the same people. Like the registrar isn't the teacher, so they wouldn't know.
Yeah, they know. They don't know.
It's fucking scary.
Mm-hmm. And he was there for a hot minute. It wasn't like he did it for one day and then, then they found out. Well,
so much so that he was like grooming girls.
He was grooming girls, right? He was sending text messages to. Damn it! Am I going down? He was sending text messages to 13-year-old girls. I believe the article said, and then and probably more than that. And who else knows what he was doing? But
just fucking
Jesus.
Listen, for what? Like, why, what are we doing?
Should I bleep that?
I mean, maybe.
Okay.
That's how I feel about it.
I'll bleep it just in case.
Okay. Is that too harsh?
I don't think so. I'm with you.
I mean, for the world, maybe, yeah, but I mean, like, am I being too harsh?
No. I'm with you.
What are we waiting for him to?
Yeah.
And how do you?
I'm gonna bleep that too.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. But I'm just saying, if I'm gonna speak freely, you figure it out in post.
No. Yeah.
Like, what? How do you fix that human being?
I don't think there's any fixing it.
That's what I'm saying. So then it's just like he'll serve some time, get out, and then just get more creative and do some fucked up shit and damage children.
You would think that, I think we're all seeing it, but we're just not saying it, or not enough people are saying it. But you would think, since we now live in this world where the world is open to everybody, and we're seeing more people than we've ever seen before, whether we interact with them or not. But we just see things like this, right? All over the place. Like we're talking about something that happened in Nebraska. Yeah. That wouldn't have been the case in the 90s.
No.
And when you would just been talking about what was in your local paper, and that's it. And whatever would have made national news would have made national news, but this would not have made national news, right? It would have probably got swept under the rug to save,
for sure,
their asses, because I'm sure the last thing this high school wants is that. But it's hard to bury stories now because of how things are. But you would think we would be able to identify that some people are just broken human beings, whether they were born that way, whether society made them that way, whatever it may be. Some people are just broken. And unfortunately, I'm of the belief, and I don't know how true it is, but I'm of the belief that a lot of these people, there's no coming back from it, especially things like this, things where it's not like you don't know that this is wrong.
No, it's a sickness.
So you know that this is wrong. Where do we go from here?
That's what I want to know.
Right? It's one thing if you're broken and you. And now I don't want to say, because I don't want to give anyone any outs. But
I want to know, like, research shows how many of these people who do these, I guess there's levels to when people break the law when it comes to minors. And I'm not talking about, let's say, an 18-year-old with a 16-year-old. I'm talking about a grown adult doing shit to children. Like, I wonder how many of those people go out into society and don't ever do some sick shit again. Like, we should have enough data to prove these people are sick and we just need to stop fucking around. Just nip the shit in the bud. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah. My only pushback to that would be our legal system is just so corrupt and so broken that
when it comes to certain things.
So it gets really hard to just fully commit to something like that and go, hey, for these people that we know, blah, 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 let's just, you get what I'm saying?
Well, it's
like if it was tip top solid and everything was good to go, or maybe I guess something like this could be an exception to that, where it's hard evidence. It's not like there has to be a jury to decide whether or not this event took place. Like everyone knows
why
this
does he
event
get a
took
second
place.
chance?
Right. Or even this. Why would he even need to sit in front of a judge?
Yeah.
If we know that these things happen, like this was you were here, you pretended to be this person, you weren't this person.
And then just because we see it and like even personal experiences, things like technicalities could get somebody like this on the streets quick as fuck. Like loopholes, shit that shouldn't happen.
A mistrial.
Yeah. It's fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. This remind me of it was another recent story, and this young man was on the news not too long ago, but he murdered his Uber driver, or like a Uber Eats driver. I don't know if you saw that. But he was a minor at the time, and he was being tried as an adult, which means that he gets no parole. If he was tried as a minor.
How old was he?
When he did the murder? 16 or 17.
Okay. Close enough. Because I know sometimes they try children as adults, which is fucked up, like a 13-year-old. A 13-year-old. That's not okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like 16, 17.
You know. Yeah. And of course, he was crying when he took the stand and was pleading to the judge that, I learned my lesson and I wouldn't do it again. And I was, out of my mind, yada, yada, yada. But for people like that, it's like, what do you do with that? What do we do with that as a society?
Well, I guess, we don't have to get into it, but I'm curious, like, what were the circumstances? Like, is it something he plotted, he planned, he thought about?
He said he was just having a bad day, and then he basically took it out on her.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That sounds fucking scary.
Yeah. Because how do you put someone like that back out in society, or even if you wanted to because you felt bad for them?
What ended up happening?
Well, he ended up getting. I want to say he ended up getting charged with no parole. I think they.
I don't know if I'm mad at that.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. Because again, some people are just broken.
And what are we waiting for it to happen to, come to terms with that? For him to do it again?
Possibly.
Ugh. Yeah, it's rough.
Because at one point do you say, okay, there's a tipping point. Like, I can see if he beat somebody up. Okay, you beat somebody up, but you stopped, but you didn't kill him. But you kill somebody, and you didn't know this person, so it's not self-defense or anything like that. You just
and your Uber Eats driver.
You just did it to an innocent woman. At least from what I'm understanding of the story, I could have it mixed up. But how do you come back from that?
Right.
And then how does another human being, a judge, sit there and say, hey, I'm comfortable with eventually.
Yep.
Well, not then and there. They wouldn't have done it there. I think he would have had to serve X amount of years, but he would have been up for parole.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But then we could put him back on the streets, and then now if you do, the next body's on you.
God, that sounds so crazy.
Kind of,
like another
right?
person has to. Yeah. Well, yeah. You're taking a chance.
Right.
I guess my issue too is like, jail isn't rehabilitation. So it's just not like, right. It's not like these people, or he, was a minor, gets to go to this facility where he's getting intense therapy and all of these things where it's like, if he stood a chance to be a different human being, he's getting those types of services. Locking someone up and essentially making them more of a monster potentially than he even would have been in those types of circumstances, that's not fair. To then give somebody like that parole.
Right.
It's fucked up.
Or, and this is what happens to some people, they get locked up and they have a come to Jesus moment or come to Moses moment, and they, right. The Muslims, you know what I'm saying? And they start reading, they become educated human beings, they get out, and now they're a completely human being, and they're da-da-da-da. It's just hard it's hard for me to have that same thought process for someone that killed someone.
Or someone who does shit to kids.
And not someone that killed someone, but someone that killed someone innocent. Because I know plenty of people who have, well, not plenty, but I know a good amount of people who have been incarcerated for murder, right? And those people are 100% good people, and they served their time, they got out, and they're not like that, and they're not an issue. But none of those people snapped and decided to kill an innocent bystander. Like
that's a different type of situation.
Right. These people that I know that allegedly have done these crimes, they were acting, if they did it, like, I'm just trying to be safe when I say, they did it in self-defense.
Well, that's not the same thing.
But not self-defense like,
No, I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
but it was just shitty circumstance.
Right.
It happened.
Right.
It wasn't technically self-defense in the eyes of the law, but one could make an argument that this person wasn't just out there just going crazy and they snapped and they did something.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? It was, wrong place, wrong time kind of thing. But those individuals now live. So I don't want to say if you murder, then now you're this. No. I don't think that's
it's more complicated.
I don't think that is as black and white as you just decide to do something to someone that did nothing wrong to you. Even if it was just words, But all right, ready to get on that main topic?
Yeah.
The main topic that you actually fluffed up. What? I'm trying to give you credit.
I did.
You don't remember in the kitchen? You go, hey, when we talk about this.
Yeah. Well, you never give me any credit when it comes to our topic, so.
Well, this is what happens when I do. When I give you credit, you give me looks. There it is. So the question is for people that, and I guess this can extend to homosexual couples too. How you feel about it, but for them, just everyone just understand the scenario. I'm not gonna fucking flip it.
Right, you get it.
Fold it.
Yeah,
everyone gets it, right?
Yeah.
But for a heterosexual relationship, it will look like this. As a man, am I allowed to have female friends? And as a woman, are you allowed to have male friends? Now, before we go any further, let's break down the difference between a friend, an associate, and like a coworker.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So we'll go from the bottom to the top.
Okay.
Coworker is just someone that you work with, you interact with
at the job. They don't have your phone number.
Or maybe they do.
You don't talk about anything other than work.
Right. There it is. Boom. That's it.
Yep.
Right. An associate could come from the job. It could come from mutual friends. It could come from even past friendships that have now been downgraded to associates. Someone that you
like if you do a hobby,
whatever it may be. But what it is someone that you may have exchanged numbers with. You might, have social media connects with. You have pretty minimal conversations. If any. If you do, it might just be, hey, catching up. Again, it could have been someone that you could have had a friendship with in the past, but now it's reduced to you might check up on one another every few months just to, hey, how's life? Okay, good. Boom, 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 pow.
I still kind of call that a friend. Only because as an adult, like even with my friends, I find myself that being the case.
Yeah, but with those people that are friends, and this is where I'm gonna separate the two. With the people that are friends, you're actually gonna link up and connect with them at some point.
Okay.
So it might not just be where they just have that associate kind of like you're catching up. And again, I'm talking about people that it's just a random thing. It's not consistent. Because yes, I have people that I grew up with that I don't live around, and the extent of our relationship is through text message, or we might DM one another, or, memes, or whatever it may be, or we might just chat with each other through DM. But we're not going to see each other because he lives in Virginia, or
so that would not be an associate.
No. That's a friend.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm saying that would be a friend because it's a recurring thing. It's a frequent thing. Like they're up to speed on everything. They don't have to just say, "Hey, how's everything going?" Because it's just our friendship just looks that way because there's distance between the two of us.
I always thought of an acquaintance like it's like if you see them and you're like, "Oh, hey," and you're friendly, but like never anything outside of that. It's like if you run into them and like. That's how I always think of an acquaintance.
I'm talking about like an associate is a little bit different than an acquaintance.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Okay.
And maybe it's all subjective.
Okay.
Boom. But a friend would be someone that you actually spend time speaking with frequently. You spend time with in person if you can. Right. So I just wanted to just distinguish those 3 different things or 4 different things because now you add it in an acquaintance. Just for clarification purposes, is in terms of what we're talking about, and we're talking about friendship versus just someone that is just super casual.
Friendship is someone who's in your life.
Right.
The extent, obviously, depending on what your life looks like, but they're in your life. They know about your life. You communicate. They know what's going on. Yeah, you'll see each other, when you can.
Right. If you do have catch-up sessions with them because it's been a while, it's more in-depth catch-up situation. Right. They might know a little bit about, a little bit more intimate things about you, yada, 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 versus, an associate, they might catch up, but you just keep it vague. Oh, everything's good. Same, same shit, different day, yada, yada, yada. And you just, you keep it moving.
Okay.
Kind of thing. Okay. So. And then you fluffed it, and then you added in there. But we could get to that later.
Okay.
Some things to make it a little bit more interesting to kind of, I guess you could say, judge what your decision making looks like.
Yeah.
But I want you to go.
Okay. So I said it depends because. If you had this friend who was always a friend, platonic friend, prior to our relationship, I don't necessarily expect you to dead that friendship.
Okay.
I think there would still be boundaries that I think most adults would respect anyway, that you really wouldn't have to say them.
Mm-hmm.
I think most, grown adults get it. But I wouldn't necessarily have an issue if it was all respectful.
Okay. And what does respectful look like to
you? I mean, if you're friends, then it wouldn't really be anything inappropriate. Like maybe how often you see this individual, how much time you're spending, how much information is being talked about, like even about you and I, that might make me uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, I don't think I would have a huge issue with it.
So you have a little issue with it?
No, I would have no issue with it if it was respectful.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the fact that you were friends with this person before is why I would think like, okay, you're entitled to have friendships. That's fine. Now, I would not be okay with if you made a new friend who was a woman after you and I were together.
Okay.
So I'd be like, what's the need for that?
Okay. Now, what do these boundaries look like in terms of how often are we allowed to hang out? What does hanging out together look like? Is it a solo thing between me and that individual? Is it something that may require you to be around?
I think
what does that look like?
The appropriate thing would be, obviously I meet this person at some point.
Okay.
Right. And if you make plans, you let me know, hey, I'm going to meet up with so-and-so. Do you want to join? And I've already met them. And I say, okay, cool, I will. Or if I say, no, I'm good, don't worry about it, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Because I've already kind of seen you interact. I felt the energy. I'm cool with it. I have no problem with it.
Right.
And appropriate, I would think like, if a couple times a year this happens, I'm okay with that. I don't think it should be like a monthly thing. It can't be more than the solo time you and I are spending together and able to go out and do things alone.
Well, and that would get kind of flimsy, because what if it was just one less time than you and I spend time together?
No.
Okay. So it
can't be neck and neck.
So it has to be like significantly lower.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So,
yeah.
Were you going to add something to that?
Well, then I was going to say, and also, now that I think about it, let's just say you and this person shared a hobby and you like to do that together. I don't know how I would feel about that if you and I didn't have the same type of thing.
If we didn't have a hobby that we shared together?
Right. Like it's just like, how much connecting are you doing with this person that you're not doing with me? I think that's where I would have the problem.
So let's say you and I shared a hobby.
Okay.
But it was a different hobby than what I shared with this individual. You're okay with that?
Yeah, I wouldn't. That wouldn't bother me.
One for one.
Just off how initially I think I would feel about it, I don't think it would bother me.
Okay. All right.
And then I wonder too, I'm just thinking, how would I feel if this person, well, I'm assuming this person is single. When I'm talking about this made up person in my mind, to me, they're single.
Right. And let's be clear.
Which I think might also could be an issue for people.
Do you think it's easier for you to say these things because this doesn't pertain to you and I?
Sure. Sure, I guess. Right? Because I haven't really been faced with it. Well, you do have a friend that you talk to. I don't know how often. We don't talk about how often you speak to. But when I think of this person randomly and I say, hey, have you talked to so-and-so? You're like, yeah. You never say no. So clearly you talk often enough.
We
often enough.
Yeah. I would say we're a notch above associates, still friends, obviously, but it's been fleeting, sadly, if that makes sense.
You're sad about it?
Well, I'm sad about it because I actually, and so the person we're talking about is Sue. So just I mean, and Sue was the original person that I started this podcast with, for anyone that's been around since day one. And I've even been on this podcast with her, and then I want to say with you, and talked about that before Sue, I never had female friends. And by friends, I mean a woman that I was a friend with that.
There was never anything sexual.
well, there wasn't anything sexual, and I wasn't even interested in that. And not because she's not attractive, because that's kind of an easy one, because Sue is a very attractive woman. But I was friends with her because I actually loved our friendship so much I wouldn't have compromised it with sex. Even if she walked in front of me, obviously before you and I were together, she walked in front of me and said, "Hey, let's fuck." I'd be like, let's
not say we did.
Now it was easy to say that because she lived in New York.
Okay.
So she wasn't within close proximity. So that made it a little bit easier to come to that conclusion.
So it was more like a over the phone friendship.
100%. But we saw each other in person often enough to where if we did want to do something, we could have done something. So it wasn't like we
you didn't have opportunity.
No. And we both had the means to travel and go see one another if that was something that we were interested in doing.
Okay.
But we both loved and appreciated the actual bond and friendship that we had, that it was never even compromised with any sexual talk. Not one time. Right. And it wasn't even like, not even like innocent, jokey kind of thing. It was, it never led to that. Right. But I think another thing that made it easier is during the time of our friendship, I was a fed lion at that point. I was out doing my thing. And so I'm good. So I wasn't a hungry lion, so to speak. But prior to her, I couldn't necessarily say that I was friends with the women that I was, that I would say that I was friends with, because at the end of the day, if I was offered pussy, I would have taken pussy. Right.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that I was in pursuit of it, but you wouldn't
have turned it down.
I wouldn't. No. Not to save the friendship. No, I would have like I would have with her. So that's, and that's how I know that
she's like genuinely a friend.
100%. And it's not to say that the women before that weren't friends. I just didn't know what that level of friendship looked like until Sue, if that makes sense. So before that, I thought that those were friends.
Got it. Until you had that experience.
And just that. And not to say that they weren't friends. They were friends, but they weren't just that. They could have also been something more, which would have been friends with benefits. I don't know if it would have been a relationship, but it would have at least been friends with benefits, which then turns into a completely different monster later on, right? It's never really ended well for me, that friends with benefits type of thing. But so yes, that's who you're referring to, and our friendship now, I guess, would be easier for you to swallow because she's not here, right? She's not around. And we might speak. I wouldn't even say once a month. I wouldn't even say once a month. It might be, we might go 2 months without communicating with one another, and then do a quick little check-in, like, hey, hope everything's well with you, hope you're alive, yada yada yada, and then it might just be a quick catch up, hey, how's the baby, everything's good, yada yada yada, how's what's going on with you, and boom boom. But so sadly, it's a fleeting friendship. Not to say that I'm letting her go or she's letting me go. It's just life. It's just life. Yeah. It's just life. And then for us, here we are. We're looking at a 9-month-old baby here in the next couple of weeks. Like, where the fuck did the time go?
I know.
So for anyone out there that hasn't been receiving communication from me, or I'm sure it's the same for you, is that we've been caught in this grind, this loop that we haven't even had time to do that. And then plus, and this is what we're going to tap into, I know for a fact that Sue dialed down on the amount of energy and the attention that she would not really demand, but that she was getting from me, or like she was requesting from me. Because I don't want, not in a needy way, but friends request attention from friends, right? So the amount of attention that she requested from me out of respect to you in our relationship, which is how it should be played, right? So I know, jokingly at the top of the podcast, I said no friends, of the opposite sex. I really don't believe that. I'm like you, where, hey, if you had someone that was in your life before me, I don't expect you to let them go. Yeah, I mean, that's just ridiculous. Especially if it was always platonic.
Right.
It was never anything crazy or anything, and not crazy, but it, you get what I'm saying. If it wasn't anything that could have been something more than just friends. But then I also believe that there should be a level of respect that is given, especially between two men. I don't expect males to always do this, but two men should do this. And I will 100% have a problem if you were friends with someone that was anything less than a man. And what I mean by that is, I have someone that I could call, she's more so now an associate than a friend, but I would have called her more than an associate and more closer to a friend that I once used to hang out with, and things like that. And then, but nothing. It was no sexual.
What does that mean? Things like that?
No.
Because for you, I don't know what that means.
No. Hang out and things like that. Like nothing more. Nothing more.
Okay.
I promise. Gets married, which happens. Congratulations, got married, yada yada yada. I had no intention on being with this person, and I'm assuming this person had no intention on being with me. So it wasn't like this. This
is someone I don't know about.
No. What? Why are you? I don't associate with this person. So yeah, well, I do, but not like that.
Okay.
So it's not like.
Okay, I'm listening.
Or maybe you do, and I'm just not saying it because I don't want to say it on the podcast. How about that?
You could have said that.
Oh, I'm saying it now because you gave me a funky ass look. Anyway, check it. Person gets married, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a man, I'm respecting that man and his bond with his woman, right? And I was already like this before marriage, so it wasn't like marriage, solidified this thing. But it helps when someone actually commits to this person, and now they're moving on and they're building a life with one another. I know the husband. I've interacted with the husband, met the husband, all the good stuff. I even reach out to the husband and I communicate with the husband from time to time, right? I would never try to go out with said woman again to like a club or anything like that.
Well, now it would be a couples thing. The appropriate thing now would be it's a couples thing.
100%.
Right.
100%.
Yeah. That would be the transition of the friendship.
But that's a completely different thing than what we were talking about, where now you're doing a solo event.
But I think also it's important to say like what it really in actuality would be appropriate in a situation like that. And I think you transition into a couple thing.
Correct. That would be it.
Right. And then you try it. Mm-hmm. And let's say the other people didn't vibe, then you just don't do it anymore.
You just don't do it anymore. Correct.
Right. Like, and that's cool. Like,
now, she was married when I was single. And I wouldn't have done it then.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Because then you're not a couple.
Correct.
So
the
equation doesn't add
So
up.
what I'm saying is that the respect that men have for one another, we don't do shit like that.
Yeah, I get it.
You see what I'm saying? For instance, you have a friend, or hypothetical, because I don't think this is the case, but hypothetically speaking, you have a friendship with a man, right, that I know about, right? We've met one another appropriately. We met one another. We've all hung out and things like that. He now comes in town.
He's single.
Okay. Or even if he's not single, who gives a fuck? But
I think that could matter to people, because single always, it could feel like there's still this thing. Person.
We have just as much to lose as the next person.
I don't know what you mean by that.
I think
I'm just saying there's some sort of level of it's not comfort that I'm looking for. What am I looking for? Security? No. You know what I'm saying? Like when you think a person is coupled, so they shouldn't really be out there looking anyway, versus a person is single.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
Okay.
But I don't give a fuck about none of that. Cause
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying for some people that might make them feel more comfortable.
Yes. Yeah. Would that make me more comfortable than someone that is single? Yes.
Right.
I can't argue that at all.
Okay.
But let's say in this scenario, they're single, right? They know me. Obviously, they know you. They want to come spend time with you. Now, the way that I would expect it to go would be, hey, you know, I'm coming in town. You know, can you and your man come out and kick it on this night, right? That would be the appropriate way to do it. Not to just ask you
to meet up
and kick it. Now, if you then come to me and you go, hey babe, XYZ's in town, he wants to know, can we come and kick it, and I say, nah, I'm not feeling it, you know, you just do your thing. That to me is an appropriate way for a meetup to then turn into like a group meetup, to turn into like a one-on-one.
You have to be okay
ordeal,
with it and turn down the invite, I think.
100%.
Yeah.
I think that would be the more appropriate thing to do, because if he did it any other way, I would feel like he's not respecting me being around. Not to say you're my property or anything like that, but you are my property. But not to say it here on this podcast to be, you know, looked at as this misogynist motherfucker. I'm a man that has a woman. She's mine.
Yes.
Mine. Don't get it fucked up. And anyone who doesn't feel the same way, you're doing something wrong. That's your fucking problem. Anyway, back at it. I feel like that would be encroaching on my territory.
No, I get it.
And you know,
I would feel the same.
Now, here's another scenario. Let's say he's coming down, right? And he wants to meet up with you and your other girls.
Because we were all friends.
Because you're all friends and it's all this group thing, but isn't extending out to me. I'm okay with that.
Yes.
Because you're now making this space a little bit safer by not targeting
it's not me
you
exclusive.
100%.
Yeah.
And then now it's a group thing. Cool.
I agree.
I think it's all fair. And I think the same rules, well, not that I think, but I know the same rules would apply.
I agree.
With me. Right. And so I think that is an appropriate way of doing it. So no, the answer isn't no, but it's yes, but things change in order to make things more appropriate. Now, this is just how we want to do things. I know there are going to be couples out there that want to do something completely different.
And we know couples.
And we know. So we know that we might even be the anomalies. We might be the different people doing shit old school and all this other stuff like, oh, they wouldn't be cool with that. What are they worried about? You know, are they insecure? Yada yada yada. It's got less to do with it has nothing to do with insecurity. It's just more of a respect thing.
Yes.
Because in both scenarios, whether he called you and asked you to go out solo and you go out with him solo, or he asks us as a group and then I turn it down and then you go out with him solo, both scenarios, you're still going out with him solo.
Yes.
And I'm not going to have a problem with it. Like, I'm not going to be like, you can't go or anything like that. But in the back of my head, I'm going to be, yo, this nigga just got no fucking respect.
Well, like, what's the energy that he's bringing to the
table?
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. And that to me, I think is something that it's like an unspoken agreement.
I agree.
Yes. And that's how we do things. Now, if you went out with him and you didn't tell me about it, and he didn't know that you didn't say anything,
that's not the same thing.
Then that's not the same thing.
That's not me.
I would never fault another male for doing some shit that he didn't know about. I wouldn't do that.
Right.
Or even if he didn't even know about me and you were hanging out or whatever. But if you know about me, goddamn, like, come on.
Yes.
I think that's only
right. Yeah.
And we ain't married.
Yet.
No, right. But she okay?
Yeah.
Okay. But that's how I think the game should be played. Now, you raise an interesting question. How do you feel about your partner going out with someone of the opposite sex if they are attractive.
Right. Yeah. Well, then I mean, I haven't met Sue, but if you say she's attractive, that's all that matters. If I think she's attractive is less important than if you think she's attractive. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Fuck what you think. If I think she's attractive, then it's yeah. It can be curtains either way.
Exactly.
Not to say it would be.
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Damn what you think.
Right.
Right.
So, I mean, I still don't have a problem with it because the friendship existed prior to me, and I know it was a genuine friendship. So to me, the looks don't matter.
Yeah, the looks don't matter for me, especially because if you're attractive, more than likely you're gonna hang around attractive people. I expect you to hang around dogs and then be like, oh, okay, because dogs have game too. Especially for guys, it's different. Like,
I agree.
We could be jealous about any male.
Yeah, it's not the same thing.
Right.
No.
I guess for guys, it would be, does he have more resources than I do? Before, is he attractive or not?
Yeah.
Right. Because that shit doesn't matter. Does he make you laugh more, than me? That I guess that would matter more than attractiveness.
Yeah.
But yes, for women, then yes, that would make sense.
I think, and I want to say, we a long time ago kind of had a conversation like this. And what would bother me the most, regardless, well, not regardless, because I wouldn't be okay with you making a new friend after now that we're in a relationship. I think the issue I would have with a previous friend that you're still friends with is like, how much connecting are you doing that we're not doing? I never want you to be doing more with another woman than you do with me.
I see.
I think that would make me feel insecure, if we're being honest.
Or how about this? When people don't necessarily show all their cards to their partner.
Yeah.
And they move about life differently than they would with their friends.
Like, you didn't see this version of your partner before.
Right. Like, oh, like, and we've seen it before. Like, oh, you act completely different around your friends.
Yeah.
Like me, you're going to get me everywhere you put me. You put me in front of my mother. I speak like this to my mother, my father, the people around me.
Yeah.
The only people that I don't do this to are the people that I work with,
professional,
right?
That's
because
different.
that's professional, and I can't say the shit that I say in front of them. But even my children, you see, I mean, I don't go crazy like this, but you don't get too many different versions of me. Like, I'm pretty me across the board, and I've always been that way.
Yeah.
So, but we've seen it before where you see people, they open up, and now they're just completely like this. Not necessarily like a stiff, but they're just this larger personality around their boys and and
like,
you might
more
even
open, more social, more adventurous, and you're like, who the fuck is this person? I don't know you.
Right. And I guess that could be triggering, whether it's male or female, because then you're like, what?
Well, then I think it goes back to the connecting,
right?
That you're not connecting with me the way you connect with another individual, and that would make me feel some type of way, especially another woman.
Right. Like you walk into
if you have conversations with another woman that you wouldn't have with me.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, a thing to add, I would not feel comfortable with you talking about our relationship with your woman friend.
Okay. Fair enough.
So that would be another thing that I don't think is appropriate.
Especially if it was things that were like...
Well, bad things. Yeah. I mean, if you want to brag about relationship, then that's fine. But like, if we were having problems and you're picking up the phone and calling your friend, that's not appropriate.
Yeah.
Unless we're addressing the problem and you're looking for like another perspective. Like, if you can't understand me and we're talking about it,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that there is an appropriate conversation that could be had where you're discussing a conflict.
Yes,
that
appears, we're addressing this conflict.
That appears to be more of a male versus female.
Correct.
Thing, right.
So you want the perspective of another woman. Maybe if you can't understand me.
Yes. Like, yo, did I say this or
yes?
Did I? And then you go.
Sometimes a real one would be like,
like, yo, you did that. Why'd you do
yes.
that? Well, you know, I kind of,
okay
and a real
that.
woman go like, I kind of understand where they're coming from. And then, right. Now you're getting, because at least that guy can put you, assuming that this person is an objective person.
Right.
And he's not some player hater. Like he can look at it, the situation and go, look, this is
yes.
You're not wrong, but this is how it's interpreted by the man.
That I don't have a problem with.
Right. That makes complete sense. Yeah. Now, what if she had a nickname for me?
A nickname for you?
Yeah, like what if watch this. What if we met up for drinks, we're all meeting up, she goes, "Hey, Spike." And then like she's got
and I never heard it before.
And you never heard me call Spike. You're like, Spike? What the fuck is this nigga talking about? Who's Spike? I'm like, yeah, you know. And it didn't stop there. I was like, Spike, what you
If I'd never heard of Spike, like if let's say this was a high school friend and like you were Spike in high school and like you told me about it and now I get to see it in person. Mm-hmm. But like if I'd never heard of it, which wouldn't be strange for you because you're very secretive about all the things. So it's possible that this could happen.
What if this was a setup because I am low key, I've been Spike.
You're Spike. Mm-hmm.
To certain crowds of people.
It wouldn't surprise me actually.
That'd be crazy. That'd be absolutely crazy.
Nathan.
Okay, so let me ask you this, and this doesn't pertain to us, and it's so funny that we're even having this discussion because it doesn't really pertain to us at all. So it's like
this is for the people.
It's like we really don't know how we actually feel because it's.
Yeah, it's not relatable.
So it's easy to sit in this chair and go like, oh no, yeah, completely fine. And it's
I think what we talked about. Well, but I don't have a guy friend but when it comes to you, I was speaking on kind of like real facts. Yeah.
Like how you would feel
if or how I do feel, to be honest.
Well, but again, even with that, again, that's not a real. It hasn't been an issue. It hasn't been a real situation, and she lives so far away that it's not, you know. But
no, but I'm saying that you do have a friend that you do speak to.
Yes.
You know that you do have a friendship with. This is what I'm saying.
Okay. But you know what I think helps you is that you got to see or at least listen to what our friendship was like.
Yeah.
So it's not like I had to really tell you because you met me when we were doing the podcast together.
And then like for me, it also helps that I know how you are.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's like, I know you're not bullshitting.
Right.
So.
Right. Oh, yeah. There's that. Okay. So, hypothetical situation. Okay. And I guess we're just going to voice our opinion on how we would feel about this. Besides the fact that some people might think that we're just could be insecure for not being okay with certain things that involve friendships that may sprout out, you know, after our relationship has started, whatever. But it is what it is. But if you are okay with your partner being friends with someone that's unattractive and clearly not a threat at all to your relationship as far as anything sexual occurring, right? But you are not okay with them being partnered up.
This is post friendship developed post relationship
or pre.
Okay.
And they're more attractive than you, right? And you're not okay with that, and that rubs you the wrong way. If that person was, you know, not a problem, does that make you an insecure person? I say yes, only because you don't care about the friendship.
I'm leaning towards yes, but I'm trying to process like why. But finish what you were saying.
I'm saying yes only because it's not the friendship that bothers you. If it's the friendship that bothers you, I don't think that necessarily makes you insecure. You just, I don't think it makes you insecure if you're not okay with your partner having friendships. And again, by
be
friendship,
insecure, but you don't necessarily have to be insecure.
Right.
But it could be coming from insecurity.
And again.
And that would be okay too.
And again, we're the friendship thing, different than an associate. We're not talking about somebody you randomly talk. It's not fucking talking about that. We're talking primarily about a friendship where you're going to be meeting up with this person potentially one-on-one for brunch. You know, I don't think that you will be an insecure person if you had a problem. Now, I'm not saying you should restrict your partner from doing anything or giving you ultimatums. But you don't like it. But you don't like it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that makes you an insecure person if you go, hey, look, why are you doing this? You think that's appropriate to just go and have, you know, a whole brunch and kick it with
often
or not or whatever. I can see a world where someone isn't okay with that, and in their eyes they don't think that that's necessarily appropriate, but they're not stopping you from doing it. You know, they're not gonna whatever, or maybe they do. I don't know, but I don't think that makes you an insecure person if you don't vibe with that.
I would have to hear their reasoning for me to decide if that's true.
What if their reasoning didn't have anything to do with the idea that they think that you might fuck them? And
then what? Then
and
what's
the
problem?
Reason was like, but why?
Okay.
Like you could talk to them and you could do whatever, but you need to go and spend an afternoon with this person.
I'm just trying to put myself in those shoes and understand like what would bother me about that. But maybe, you know, everybody's different.
And I don't know. And
I think what would bother me is like if we're not brunching, if we're not going on dates and you're taking time out of your busy schedule to spend time with another human being, I would have a problem with that. But if I'm satiated and we're doing all the things and we're spending all the time and going on the dates and kind of doing all the connecting, and then you have some spare time to do that with another individual that's a friend, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Yeah,
I get it.
You know, but
I understand. I guess I'm just trying to create an argument to say that just because you're not okay with it
doesn't necessarily
mean you're insecure. It could come from a place of insecurity, but it doesn't mean. Or maybe you're insecure about that, but you're not an insecure person.
Yes, and that's possible. Yeah,
you know,
that's fair.
But I mean, I can see a world where it would be more common for people to not be comfortable with that. But not even just because they think that you might sleep with somebody else, but because
there's
a saying in
Spanish, it doesn't translate the same, but it's kind of like, it basically says like, avoid the situation and avoid the experience. It sounds way nicer in Spanish. But it's just like, sometimes you just don't get caught up in some shit that might open the door to something that doesn't need to happen. And I think a lot of people would feel that way.
Right. But for me, hands down, it would be, if I took issue with anything, it would be how it went down.
Yeah.
Again, if I was invited and I just didn't want to go, but you still wanted to go, I'm not going to hold you back, and I'm not going to have any problem because, hey, kudo, you know, you respected me, yada, yada, yada. I know what time it is.
Yeah.
Hey, you go have fun with him, and you catch me up on everything later. Enjoy yourself. No issue, not going to have any slights, nothing like that.
What if I got all dolled up? Or had a Kiki Palmer outfit?
If you had a Kiki Palmer, don't come home. Don't come on, because you know what, you wouldn't even get a chance to because how do we come back for that? How you walk that shit back? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, but like in all seriousness, not Kiki Palmer outfit, but it's like, would you be judging how cute I got to go out on this?
You fucking right.
Yeah.
You
no,
fucking like,
I agree.
But even then, even though I respect the way that they went about it, and I respect the way it all went down, in the back of my head, like I wouldn't challenge you about it, but in the back of my head, I'd be like, what? Really? Okay, all right, it is what it is.
Okay, the truth comes out.
But not from a place, but not from a place of jealousy. But it's like, I don't know.
To me, it depends. It all around depends. It depends on what it looked like.
You know what it is. You know what it is. You know what it is. I think it's easier to put yourself in this situation and be more comfortable with making a decision with this situation once you get the energy and vibe of the other person.
Right. And that's why I think it really just depends.
If this dude was just like, he was just a personality type of guy, chill, yada, 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 very respectful, boom, boom, pow.
Yeah, and then you guys, had this good energy too and things in common.
That's one thing. That's one thing.
Right. And you'd be like, oh, I get it. I get why you're friends with this guy. Like, I understand. Like, okay.
But if he's
no weirdo shit,
sexy, flexy, fly ass,
right,
nigga,
right.
Just wants, and it's like,
yeah.
It all depends.
It really does. I agree.
But if you did try to dial up,
it all goes back to, I've said it and I'll say it again. You can't give somebody else any energy you're not giving me.
Right.
That's my problem.
If when we go out, you got one eyelash hanging on.
Right.
But
right, all of a sudden,
you put on your favorite perfume, and you got
heels on, and,
right,
right, yeah.
It'd be like, all right,
right.
She got them toes out for her. What the fuck you doing? maybe you should wear that shit you wear around the house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get
it. No, but for real, what are you all?
Yeah,
what are your
people
thoughts
think
on this?
Yeah,
and I think it's perfectly normal, and it doesn't make you an insecure human being if you're like, no, I don't think any of that's necessary.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that too.
I think, hey, we're together, we're exclusive. Yeah. All that shit should cut out. If you're going out in a group setting, cool. Mm-hmm. If it's a one-on-one thing, I don't think
that's necessary.
I don't think it's necessary, and that's that. I do not think that there's anything wrong with that.
I agree
at all.
Mm-hmm.
So there you have it. You ready to get out of here?
Sure.
All right, people. We made it. How long is this one? Okay, it's not too crazy. All right, I need to edit this and get this one out.
Okay.
But thank you for rocking with us. If you made it this far, we appreciate you. And if you are watching us on the internet, I hope this doesn't turn out too crazy looking. But this has been another episode of the Feelings First Facts Later podcast, the podcast where we saying shit, but we ain't saying shit. As always, I go by the name Nathan Mitchell, and I did this with the lovely Cristina. Peace.